Another one of those weekends where Laura is off at uni, so I have the house to myself all weekend. No chance in going out either, because it's absolutely tipping it down out there. Lol, you know me, I wouldn't be going out for shit. So, what happened? So far, I woke up early. Formula 1 is on in Japan, so the time zones are like fucked. So it started, quali started at about 6 this morning, so I was up in time for that. I'm not in my sleeping cycle at the moment, so I'm not having my naps in the middle of the day, but I am getting up early and I'm trying to be like proactive and productive. So while I was doing that, I was going through a load of paperwork that I need to do for stage 2 of my operations. It won't be long until I finish stage 2 and stage 3, and then I can just like go, and then I can tell you more about all of those steps and what's involved in them. But until then, unfortunately, that is not doable. So we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, Laura got up, finished watching Formula 1, had some breakfast, I just got dressed. I was about to sit down and do some programming, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do myself some DIY. We've bought a kind of under-sink cabinet to go there, because we haven't really got much storage in here apart from the cabinet, the mirrored cabinet. And we bought it ages ago, and we haven't put it up yet. So you know what, I'm just going to fucking put it up, you know, boys? And then I'll do some programming later, basically. I'm thinking, basically, because it's like working up until about lunchtime on other things, chores, and I'm going to be like, sit down 4 or 5 hours, bang, smash that out of the park. I'm trying to be helpful as well. I've also got tomorrow to play with as well, so it's not like I'm going to run out of time. It's not like I've got 2 or 3 hours on my own. I've literally got like a solid 10 or 12. So you know what, this is going quite well. I'm quite proud of myself. I've done this all by myself. Before we came to this house, I was an absolute novice on this DIY shit. And now look at me, I'm basically semi-pro. God damn. So this is no way near as simple as IKEA stuff. IKEA stuff is like bang out, fine. This is a fucking mess. Turns out putting the fucking this wood bit on the back is the biggest bitch ever. Normally these are like nails, but they're screws. So normally you can just like, with IKEA shit, you just put a nail in, you fucking tap it in with the fucking hammer, happy birthday. You've got to screw it. I've literally spent more time screwing the back on than I've done any of the rest of it. Also, I want to have a bit of a bitch and a moan about this fucking piece of bullshit screwdriver. Right, so, look, this is a ratchet screwdriver. So when it's like in the wall and you're screwing, you can like turn it like that. Yeah? Which is really cool. Except, here, for some reason, there's a fucking screw thing on the end. Don't know why, I assume you can put some shit in there if you're fucking weird. Right, so, anyway, let's imagine it's on there. Right, you haven't got to the ratchety bit yet. So you're still trying to screw. You're trying to screw it in, you're trying to get the screw to bite in the hole. Right? So at this point you can't do the ratchet because it's got nothing to bite against to spin it back. So, how do people screw drive things? Yeah? You're trying to put pressure on to push it through the wall. So you put your flat of your palm against this. Yeah? Flat of your palm against that, you have that, and then you spin. Right? So as you spin, the screwdriver spins, like that. This bit fucking comes off, doesn't it? What a load of fucking shit. That's cool, right? Take it off. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, except this bit then bites into your hand like an absolute bitch. It's annoying me. Nice doggy dog. So now we've got this up here for all our standard most time use toiletries. And then, bam. Actually can't get a lot in there, but because of obviously how much the room the sink takes up. But better than nothing, innit? Better than poking the eye. Lunch eaten, job's done, living the dream. I put the washing away. What can we do with this room, guys? Read some hashtag inspo for what we could do with this room. I think we should turn it into a double office, but Laura doesn't think that. To be fair, I could have put my office in here, but I chose to put it in the small room. I could always move it. We need to. It's because of this is the problem. This is like a double bed. But anyway, what was I doing? Yes, I've put away the washing. I've put up that little cabinet thing. Now it's time to do some work. I just feel bad when I put the washing away because half of Laura's right. Normal, right? So everything I own. Just looking at my bruised hand from that screwdriver. Everything I own, if it's a top, it goes in here. Happy days. Underwear, anything else, and then shit I don't wear. That's how it goes. Laura's got like some work stuff in here, some like skirts and jeans, then like some t-shirts, and then dresses. And like some things need ironing, some tops go in there. And I just don't know what to do with it. I always feel bad because I always end up just leaving it all. But I get told off if I put it in the wrong place, so it's just not worth the grief. First things first is I'm going to finish off because I'm on my laptop. I'm going to finish off what I was doing this morning, which is making sure that when you're on the page, it tells like it's active in the header, in the toolbar. So it's got like a little underline on it. I'll finish that off, and then I'm going to look at some Gravity Roll stuff for my actual website. For the rest of the thing I'm doing on, someone got back to me with something I could use on. Gotta be said, I do miss having Atlas for running these fuckers. Laptop really does chug. I think it's because, and this is why I think I'm going for a Ryzen processor when I finally buy my computer. I can afford it. I don't know why I didn't just buy it. I should just buy it, but I'm not yet. I'm holding off. Because quad core hyper-threaded, dual core, obviously not, struggles. They're the same speed. This is like way newer processor, so I just feel like I need threads. I need cores just to fucking do a load of shit on it, you know? Run VMs, Docker, swarms, all that malarkey. Live the goddamn dream. So, but yeah. So, to be fair, this is quite a step down processor-wise. That's a i7 3 3rd gen. This is an i5 6th gen. So it's a lot newer, but it's about, well, it's got 1 gigahertz less. Half the cores. No wonder it doesn't compete. It's a very valid question as to why I need to replace Atlas. I feel like I could buy a new computer and give Atlas to Laura, keep it on all the time, and then use it as a build server. So it's like prominently a build server, but Laura can log on and do what she wants with it. She's currently using the old Surface anyway for her uni stuff. She doesn't use Google Docs. She doesn't need anything crazy. But she's toying with the idea of getting an office, again a desk, a proper office, because at the moment she works downstairs on the kitchen table. Mainly because I think she's eyeing up that log burner, getting ready to use that in the winter months. You know, I've been playing around with some GraphQL stuff. I've sorted out my website. I'm happy about that. Been looking at some GraphQL stuff, and something that's been really bugging me is that I couldn't figure out how to share resolvers. What I initially did was I kind of bodged it up. I bobbed it by putting all of the resolving logic into the query. And you shouldn't really do that. The query should then just kind of kick into the fields, which all resolve themselves. Otherwise, your query needs to have the logic that kind of comes for free by the GraphQL language computer thing. Forgot what the word is for that. You have to go, if you ask for this, then go get this, etc. However, you can get. So what I was looking for was because you can have interfaces where you kind of like define the resolver on a base class, and then it gets shared by all of the different type of classes that implement that interface. And then you can basically just implement it once. You have to implement it multiple times. Happy birthday! And I've just spent ages trying to figure out if there's a way of me doing that. There's some like auto stuff which just scans for basic fields, which isn't good enough for me. I was just trying to going through all the framework, trying to figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do to try and do that. Like, do I create some kind of different type of interface, like some kind of derived interface or some kind of whatever? And I've just stumbled upon what I think will do it. And I'm like, yes! So I've been getting a cup of tea. And then I'm going to get up there and I'm going to fucking have a go at it. The one thing I'm not sure about is if you're doing a full query, you're doing the query for this piece of information. Say you go, hey, I want to get this. It goes, hey, yeah, here's this. And also, here's the information for this if you need it. And then you go, yeah, actually, I need it. How does it know how to resolve that last thing? That's the one last question I need to answer. Because basically I've got like if you imagine a graph, you ask for the top level of the graph, obviously you can ask for any data down that graph, but as soon as you get to a certain point, it will say, yo, I need this site. No, it doesn't, does it? Nah, we'll do it at some point, but in this case it doesn't, so that's fine. Where's my mug? I am happy with that. So, basically what it does is it calls into the resolver. It's got the object query runs and it gets all of the other I'd be interested to know how it orders the fields. It gets all the data that it needs, going through the standard resolvers that I've already built, which is happy days. Then pumps into my field resolver, at which point I have access to the query, which I can pass for parameters if I need it. I have access to the data I've just pulled back, which in my case includes literally a link to the data that I want. Beautiful. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. And my God, right, Atlas running this platform is so much faster than my laptop. It's insane. And it's also really fucking good just watching me just spin up 5 microservices, get them all running, don't set up anything else, no database, nothing set up, and then you just click play, and then it just fucking fires around messages and just goes beep, 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 and then sets up all the sagas, sets up all the data in the way that I need to, sends off emails. Oh, it's so good. God damn. It is, what time is it? Nearly 5 o'clock, so I'm going to end it there. I've discovered everything that I need to discover. I need to go and pick up Laura from uni, and we are going shopping for a shower. The other day I had a lovely warm shower. It was great. And then Laura got in the shower, and sod's law, because this always happens to Laura, it never happens to me. Every time we turn from off to the hot one, it trips the circuit, so the fuse box trips. If you go stop, cold, middle, that's fine. But obviously it's not as powerful, and it's not as... I think it is as hot, but it's not as powerful. No, it's not as hot or it's not as powerful. It's not very good. So we're getting it replaced and getting it swapped with another one. On when? Well, he said he could do Wednesday, but we can't do Wednesday. Trying to get an electrician in to get it fit. But in the meantime, we need to go buy one. That is what our outing is. Also, we're getting takeaway tonight. Yippee! Takeaway was enjoyed. It was delicious. Also, we got ourselves a shower. Obviously, not fitted yet, but we need to fit that at some point in the future. But all is good in the hood. Old Laura also likes my handiwork. We had a Indian takeaway. Obviously we've moved house, so we've got to now find good takeaways, which is always hard to do. It was alright, it was quite expensive for what it was, and it wasn't like, oh my god, this is gorgeous, let's go back. So we need to find a good one. But we will see what we can do, won't we, ladies and gentlemen? Otherwise, Laura went to bed really early. She went to bed like 9. I've just told you, haven't I, that the circle is just like fucking up with my sleeping pattern, because the circle ends at 11 o'clock most nights, and I'm supposed to be asleep by 11 o'clock. It's fucking up Laura's sleeping cycle even more, because she normally goes to bed at about 10. So for the past 2 weeks, she's been like staying up till about 11, and obviously she's at uni and whatnot this weekend, so she is stayed up and watched the Grand Tour, which I'm like chipping through when I've got fuck all else to watch, because it's shit. But I also watched the last episode of Black Mirror, which was bomb ass. It's the first thing I've seen on this TV outside of the shop, and outside of YouTube videos. It's like 4K, Dolby Vision, beautiful. All I need is some Dolby Atmos speakers. Oof, on my set. I don't think I'll be up in time to watch the Formula 1, but I've recorded it, so I should be able to watch it when I get up. Another day, another grind, boys. Got up at 6 this morning, walked downstairs. I had like prepped the TiVo box to make sure that it was recorded in Formula 1, so if I'd missed the start, I could rewind it. Because I thought it started at 5 in the morning, and I'm so sick of Google and Twitter fucking ruining the race results for me. By hook or by crook, I was watching it earlier. It's repeated at like midday, but by then someone would have ruined the result. It was a boring result, but it was fucking funny, good race. So there was that. I came down at 15:15, turned the TV on, and they were literally on the grid, ready to go. So I was like, perfect timing. Otherwise, we've had some breakfast. I cooked Laura bacon sandwiches. She's off to uni again. We normally always have bacon sandwiches on a Sunday, and normally she does it. But when we go, and that's basically because I can't operate bread knives. They baffle me. Don't know what the hell I'm doing, and therefore anything that's related to bread knives, Laura does. But I was making her breakfast in bed, but she came down as I was putting the bacon in. She went on the shower. We had breakfast. It was great. I'm like a domestic god All right. When when Laura's out, I'm doing all the chores. I'm putting up the cabinet from yesterday. I'm doing all the cleaning. I'm doing all the cooking. I need to get pork chops out. Thanks for reminding me. Very porky-based meals today. I don't think it's in the fridge, is it? No, it's in the freezer. Yeah. So Laura has just gone. Is it that? Yeah. You know when you freeze meat and it just kind of all looks the fucking same, and you're like, it kind of looks porky, but it also looks a bit like beef. Yeah, Laura's just gone. I am now going into the office to do some GraphQL stuff that I was doing yesterday. Last night, while I was watching, what was we watching? Oh, The Apprentice. I was also looking at Stage 2. Stage 2 is really confusing now, man. The weather as well looks really fucking nice today. It's got to be said. I do feel a bit like I want to be out in it. To be honest with you, I've been cooped up for a bit. I do need to head out to go shopping at some point today. What was my point? Oh yeah, I've got quite far in. It's quite complicated. I'm now at a bit where I'm like, I don't want to fuck this bit up. So I need to do some research before I carry on. But yeah, otherwise I need to do my daily vlog, which is what I need to do. And it just occurred to me that I remembered watching it back, and the titles, the day titles, are in the wrong font. And that's probably happened since I refreshed the computer, because I'm guessing that I haven't reinstalled the fonts properly. There you go. I think I've installed them. So let me show you how this works actually. So what I do is I drag the video footage out into, so here's my folders. So I drag the video footage into this daily vlogs section. In the daily vlog section I've got all of the days, right? So I keep 5 days back, well 5 videos back, it used to be 5 days, now it's obviously more than that. So these are very cleverly titled. These ones I've already made, this one here I haven't yet. And they're titled in a very specific way so that I can generate the title tags in the bottom left hand corner at the beginning of all the days. So I start off with the day number and then the date, and then to be fair I don't need this bit on the right, but I do that so that it's easier for me to calculate the next day. So inside here there's literally just the drop files for all the days, so look, there you go, happy days. And what I do basically is just check to make sure I haven't accidentally taken a photo. So if there's a photo in any of these, it'll be the first one in the list if it is, then it fucks everything up, doesn't it, dog? Once I've got that, I copy and paste the name of the old doohickey. I then navigate to right next to the videos. So in here, look, you've got my videos, there's daily videos, output, and then vlog script. Output is literally the output videos. So vlog script is here. You navigate to this thing in the command line, and you do .NET run, speech marks, paste in the title, smash that bitch in there, hit enter, and then rendering. There we go, we're off. We're making the videos, boys. Basically what that does, I'll give you a brief description of what that does. This is a previous one. It generates a file here for each day. So it generates this file here, which basically is just a, oh, what did I click there? I don't know which one I clicked. That, oh yeah, Notepad, thank you. So it generates a file literally with just the file name in. And it goes, file, bang, right? Then gets fed into FFmpeg with the correct settings. And basically I just have a certain level of encoding settings, and I have the timestamp set for a certain amount of days, which is why it's every day. So basically it renders through, and then the first little bit it prints the little time thing at the beginning of the day, and then just renders the entire thing out, smashes all the clips together, and then encodes it. Once it's encoded, it generates a file with the same name, and that is obviously a MP4. Then at the end of that, it generates a file here, which is identical to the previous file, except this one has the output files instead of the input files. And then it concatenates all of those together and whacks them into the output folder on the other screen. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All of that is done with one file of C#, 200 lines of C# code. Basically, it's got the fonts, which is as why the fucking fonts didn't work. I've now installed that, so that should now work. And then it just goes through, takes the arguments in, calculates what the initial day is, what the initial date is and the initial day is, gets the folder path from all this shit, starts a stop clock. I don't know why I do that, because there's so much, whoops, there's so much output in here that you'd never see this outputs, but I do it anyway. Yeah, so it clears down the folders if it's run once before, regenerates them all, happy days, renders the daily vlog. There's a couple of methods down here for getting the input things, generating the initial day, and then rendering daily vlog. And this is all the clever bit where it goes to FFmpeg and then concatenates all the shit. So here, look, you literally, it's got font color, positioning, angles. It's like just basically just wrapping around a C# process. Sorry, command line process. Pretty cool. It saved me so much time. So much time. So just render this, get this uploaded, because this video is probably going to run on. So I need to make sure that this video can be finished in time. This video can be uploaded in time for this video to get uploaded. You know? I always talk to you a lot more when I'm on my own. What am I doing now? I'm now looking at the GraphQL stuff I was doing. So what I basically had before was I wrote a query which would get you all the information that you wanted. It will go into the back end and go, hey, get me this. It will get it, so it will make a call to the database, to the microservice that has the data, pulls the data back, and then goes, right, okay, cool, I've got this. Did you want this extra bit of information? And at that point, I check whether or not you've got that data in the query. And I go, okay, so you've asked for this specific field, that means I need to go get it. I look at the data I've just got back, it says, hey, you need to go to this URL to go get that data. I go get the data, bring it back, put it all in the same object, wrap it all up into a big thing and spit it back out. That's all well and good. However, what I have to do there is I need to query your query. And in theory, I shouldn't have to do that because GraphQL can do it all for me. So what I'm now doing is I'm moving that logic that does that additional lookup out of the initial resolver. So basically I have a resolver for the top level object, and I then have a resolver for all of the different items, and that way I don't have to do any work to figure out whether or not you've asked for that data. And it gets complicated as well because the query goes, so you're asking for, well, can I show you? So here, look, you're asking for credentials, and if it's the type personal access token, then spit back access token and expiry date. If I have different types, then I'd have to do all that logic to figure out which kind of field to look for. But I don't have to, because now it will do it all for me, basically. I mean, it's all going to route through the same thing, and I'm still going to go through a generic base class, so I don't have to re-implement it for every single personal access type thing we have. But it's much better, it's much more efficient. Much more scalable as well. I was entering the world where I was re-implementing all the logic I did for this for a different query, and I'm like, I've fucked this up somehow, haven't I? And I had to like re-look into it and all that shit. Replying to the comments on previous videos, and John said that he loved the way I call a cable tie a table tie. I've always called cable ties table ties, and I just have to really concentrate to say it the other way around. I'm not sure where that came from. It's really difficult to unlearn. What I wanted to talk about was, I think I might have mentioned this before, is one of the videos that I've made a very long time ago, when just suddenly got a lot of views. I mean, a lot of views is obviously, in my terms of a lot of views. Shut your mouth, Jamie. Analytics. So, this is day 245. It was called Mint Imperial Addiction, which is obviously, I mean, I struggled for video titles now, let alone then. I'm just pulling down the analytics, but this was April 2012, right? April 2012. It's got 507 views, right? I know, tell me about it. Obviously, most of the views came when it was first launched, but then it's just chugging away. It's just chugging away, right? And 35% of the views for this video have come from search. And I get comments on it all the time. All the time. I.e. there's 6. And then someone's here. I'm literally addicted to these heavens. What are you talking about? I love it when people comment on really old videos as if I've just uploaded it. Yeah, they're like, people will fucking give me advice on things that on a video I uploaded like, well, 4 or 5 years ago. You're like, what are you doing? So how many years ago was that? 2012? Was it 2012? Fuck. 6 years! Oh my god, how much of my life have I wasted? Not wasted. How much of my life have I fucking spent on this fucking... Still can't break 4,000 subscribers either, boys. On a serious note, I don't really know. I struggle to figure out what to put in these videos. I struggle like what to talk about, and I struggle especially when I'm at work and when I'm like stressed and I don't really have much time. And if you've noticed that about me, sitting here just rambling away because I've got nothing better to do. I don't have much time. Laura doesn't have much time. So I don't really know. I can't make proper videos I still like making daily vlogs. I can't put them daily because I literally don't have enough content. You thought the video titles about. I mean, I struggle to find video titles for these days, but I guess it is a little bit harder when they're a little bit less focused. But I don't know what to do in these videos. And so what can I do to make them more interesting and or attract more people to watch? What do you reckon? That there's a little dilemma to mull over. There's a problem with being like I am, which is like honest and normal, I guess. I'm only really as good as what I'm doing, and the other problem of me being so fucking like buried into work all the time, because I really enjoy it, it's what I like doing, is that that's not very interesting to watch. But obviously you guys watch, so I must be doing something, alright? But yeah, I think it's one of those things where these videos are purely at the will of what I'm doing and how stressed I am. So if I'm not doing anything interesting, if I'm literally just working, then there's nothing interesting to say. Or the flip of that, there's so much going on, I'm so stressed that I just don't want to do them. I think half of this will change, given the completion of stage 2 and 3. So there's that. But yeah, I just wanted to see what's your input on that. What's your insight? Anyway, stop distracting me. I'm going to go back to implementing my API gateway and getting this all cooked up, good and proper. On the old YouTube thing actually, because I just saw there that I'm actually I'm at 900,000 views on this channel, which is crazy. I think one of the biggest problems I have had is that most of my stuff, I started off obviously as a student, and that's interesting to people, but what I'm doing now isn't interesting to people, and I think that is like the barrier that I need to get over. So now my most watched videos, nearly always, are either my old YouTube videos or ones where I'm walking around hotels, exploring them for bare views, because you always get bare views for releasing a video called Exploring Hotel Name. So otherwise though, the rest of them are automated video editing. It's getting some views, but that wasn't too long ago. So in the last 28 days, most of them are all like around the 100 video view mark. And like I said, I used to pay attention to this stuff. I used to care about it a lot more than I do now. I don't really care about it now, to be honest with you. Lol. I wonder where my sources... See, my most sources are from search. 29% of my views over the last month have been from search. And I'm guessing that most of those are those thingy views. So searches are... So what I need to do, I'm looking at this now, and I need to pivot. I need to pivot into travel vlogs. So top one is the hotel name, University of Bath, hotel name, place I went on holiday, new glasses, chavs, tonsillitis, hotel name, Bath Uni, freshers, university related, hotel name, I lost my voice, fun in bed, fucking searching for that. Hotel name, university. I don't do any of that stuff very regularly. But, so, yeah, open to thoughts. Back to work. Yeah, I'm just looking into the way that I'm repicking all of this. Basically, I have my API calls in to the domain. The domain calls into the service, and the service spits back a model, which it then maps into the domain model. Now, obviously, the domain model looks a lot like what the real object is, rather than what the service is giving, because the service is giving me, literally, for the credentials you just asked for, it's giving me a link to your actual ones. I don't want to give that back to the user. It's no use to them at this point. Not in GraphQL, anyway. It's useful for REST, but it's not you. You can imagine doing a GraphQL query and then being given a fucking HTTP GET URL. Not useful. So, what I need to do here is I need to unpick that bit so it no longer returns the domain object, and that final mapping happens. Is that too fragile? Having my API passing around, or do I just make the domain object a lot more closer to the reference, and then you map out at the API layer instead? What's the advantage of having the difference between the server layer? So it's this thing which I'm baking in layers for this flexibility. I'm not sure whether or not I'm overcooking it. Because if you've asked the query, where else would that be done? That would be done in the GraphQL layer. It shouldn't be done in that layer. It should be done here. So I need to pass the data back. That's an interesting puzzle. Because basically, what I have is the GraphQL is calling into the domain to get some extra information. The domain then kicks back the information the API has asked for, but the API now needs more of that. Sometimes the API or the GraphQL layer needs the full information, sometimes it needs only half of the information. And it needs the same model. Actually, I think that's a non-issue, because I think by the time that I've got it in the field resolver, it isn't the domain object anymore, it's the mapped one. It resolves that and then resolves the fields. So I'm already at the API layer, so I've already lost that information. So how do I pass that around? How do I pass this link around? That's just... Ooh. This is an interesting predicament, ladies and gentlemen. It's an interesting predicament to make. So, you've asked for some information. You go off into... rubber duck in here. You go off into the back end, right? So you say, hey, get me this information, server. The server goes, cool, I'll get you that, dog. It goes off and gets the data for the top level object that you've asked for. As part of that, it spits back, hey, if you want this bit of information, go to this URL here. My object then goes, yeah, right, sweet, map that into what they want, and then go kick it back to GraphQL. GraphQL then goes, oh, by the way, I also asked for this bit of information. This is now after the fact. I've already resolved everything. I now have to go back into the database and have to make another call to go and get that information. The problem is that that URL is a get... I have a get where it says, I don't just get credential, I go to get personal access token. And I think that's where I'm fucking up. Because if you made a call to get personal access token, it would say see other and point you to where you should be going if there was a different type. If you had, let's say, like OAuth set up. And I don't now know how to do this without re-getting all of that information. I can't store the context of that first call. Is it possible? I don't think it is. But is it possible for REST to return like inheritance style objects? Where if you say get credential, so I feel like this is why I didn't do it in the first place, because I probably tried it and then it failed. If you say get credential, it spits back two entirely different objects that look entirely different from each other. No, because the problem is Swagger definitely wouldn't let you do that, because Swagger has no idea about inheritance, and therefore I don't think HTTP... You can't say, I'm going to return you an object, lol, guess what the fucking object is, can you? That's dickhead. That's a dickhead move you should have to go to. Right, okay. So how do I get around this? I could have a temporary cache set up. That's something that can go wrong though, isn't it? I feel like this is only a problem because I don't know what object it is that I'm spitting back. But I think I'm going to hit this problem again in the future. Pretty fucking sharpish. So I need to solve it somehow. Without duplicating logic. And preferably without making a database call, literally just repeating the same query just to get the data back out. And then going, oh right, that's where I need to go, thank you. So, is this a bad API? It's a get, HTTP get X.
as part of X, there's another thing on it that says if you want this, go get this. But you couldn't go and get that on your own. You couldn't just go, oh yeah, unless you knew what it was. You'd be relying on my response to that's how Hagios works. FML. The thing is, it works as well. It works. It's just not. The reason this came up is because I was re-implementing a query that I could like collate 3 different bits. Just have an idea, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. The problem with this in general is that it's quite a... It's one of them things where I don't know anything about this. What I'm learning about GraphQL is what I'm doing at the moment, which is all very well and good. It's the best way to learn is just to get like your hands in there and get fucking playing around with some shit. It's the best way to learn. The problem is, the best way to know that you're not doing it badly... I've always been, right, all tutorials online always make things look easy, because they're all really simple, overly easy examples, effectively, where they don't have to go off to a database and they don't have to have these things where it links to each other. But you're supposed to be able to do that, but it's really difficult to find these situations. You only really see where things that look cool and shiny, like GraphQL, fall down when you are applying it to something bigger. Does that make sense? So if you apply it to something the size of the platform I'm making, or the platform we have at work, it has to face and solve way more problems, way more complicated problems than any tutorial online will ever delve into. And that's kind of why I like playing with new stuff on this project, because I get the opportunity to see where that happens without costing cost me time and money, arguably, but it doesn't cost another company time and money. Slash, I'm not personally responsible for implementing, bringing in and vouching for something that turns out to be a terrible idea. I'm just getting to the point where I'm starting to think I was probably being optimistic having a GraphQL endpoint, because I just don't know what I'm doing with it. There's no reason why I can't keep it for what I've done at the moment and then just go back to REST for some other stuff. But yeah, it's like in this scenario, what I want to do is make a query. I want to go, hey, here's my ID, go. I want you to get me all of this information. I want you to get this information about myself and then about my credentials. And then I also want to get the configuration for the thing I've just asked for, but I don't know what type it is yet. I shouldn't have to make another call into the back end to say, yo, get me the configuration for this, because I've just made a call. You know what ID it is. You know I'm looking for this information because the graph's told you so. That's how I ended up in this rabbit hole, because I had to write another query to do that. God damn. Yeah, because of that scenario, I'm using... In the first scenario, the credential scenario, I'm using the result of the query in order to... Wait, hang on now. I'm using... For the configuration one, I'm using the result of the query in order to calculate the final config. Basically, I go and get the shit out of the database by making that call, and then I go, oh right, you're this type, are you? Okay, cool. Go and get that information as well. Goes off and gets the information. Happy birthday. The second bit though is the credential problem. Is I need to use some information that I got halfway through a query in order to calculate the next bit. And I don't know how to do that, do I? That's the world I'm in. I feel like what I'm doing is beating around a bush where I've badly designed my API on the repository service. Having this get access token, get OAuth, is causing problems that I wouldn't otherwise have to solve. God damn. Really, if I could just go get credentials, I'd be happy days. But I don't want to have an object, like a God object, that represents all different types of credentials.
And I definitely don't want that in other areas. Like, these are all just smaller versions of what I'm gonna end up having, which is much bigger problems with the same problem but blown up. At the moment, it's not that bad. Like, what's the difference between OAuth and personal access tokens? Not all that much, to be honest. Not all that much. They're pretty fucking similar. But as soon as you get into bigger objects, you don't want to start enforcing some kind of god object on the clients. That's what I hate about what I've got at work. There's got to be a compromise here somewhere. The conclusion I've come to, ladies and gentlemen. The most annoying of conclusions. It was better the way it was. So basically, there's no real point doing what I'm trying to do. Like, the way I've designed that aspect of it, the credential bit in particular, is I can have a similar thing for the code, for the fucking config. That's fine. I can do that bit. But doing the other part is just unnecessarily difficult. And not necessary, effectively, because of just the way that works. It's not really a thing that has been designed in that way. And I'm thinking about it. The scenarios where this is actually going to become a problem in the future, that one in particular isn't that bad. Like, I don't think that'll happen again. I'm trying to solve a problem that isn't really a problem, if that makes sense. So the way that the way that I already solved it was the best way of doing it. So you make the request, I tell the backend whether or not you want the information, you get it. I can do a similar thing for the I can use the field resolver techniques for the config, because all I need there is the result rather than the something that's calculated in the middle. That piece of information in the middle is something that shouldn't be exposed beyond the domain resolvers, effectively. My GraphQL thing says, hey, get me this information. He goes off and gets the information. Either that information is information that it can resolve, or it's something that something else has to resolve. If it's something that something else has to resolve, i.e. the credential problem, then it tells the domain to go and get that information for it. If it's something that it can get for free, because it's relatively easy to get that kind of information, then it will get it at the top level. Which means the type configuration is pretty simple, because all I need is the response. So if I can calculate what I want from the response, then a field resolver, else a domain resolver. Which, like I say, is the most annoying thing to this, because I've spent a good couple of hours trying to solve this problem, only to discover that I don't want to nor need to. You know? I'm going to take a break for a little bit. I'm going to take myself a half an hour break, and then I am going to half-hour break, chill out, relax, go out, get some bread and some butter for lunch. Have some lunch, come back. Always feels like a kick in the teeth when you've just had to, like, not undo a load of work, but throw a load of work away. Kind of the same thing. Always feels like a kick in the teeth, and I won't be in the mood to do it now, so I just need to, like, step away, chill out for a little bit. Then go. I'm not hungry yet, otherwise I'd go out and get bread now. But I feel like, let's chill out for a bit. Playing Prison Architect as like a chill out thing, it just appeases my like OCD build something but in a really relaxed kind of way side of my brain, you know? Right, let's go get some bread and whatnot for lunch. The weather is perfect. It's coat, hoodie, shoes weather. Just crisp enough, nice and sunny. Dickhead here thought it might be a good idea to try and change the thermostat on the oven at 8 o'clock at night. The YouTube video looked pretty fucking simple. I've taken out more screws than I care to count. I had no idea. I had no idea ovens even looked like this in the first place. But that's the thermostat that we need to change. It feeds there and it goes all the way down there. And I have no idea how the hell to get our new thermostat down there. And I was at the point where I'm like, oh, just one more screw. Just take one more screw out. I think I'm almost there. And now I'm at the point where I can't seem to get the sides off. I think I need to get the sides off in order to do the job properly. Because I need to basically take the hob off. And now we're going to have to get a oven fixer, a dunner tomorrow. And I don't know whether or not to put it back or leave it like this. Put up with me here. So it's on the doors at the moment, which probably isn't best to leave it its entire weight on 2 metal rods. They're on the floorboards. It's on some cardboard, but it's only cardboard. If I leave it like this, it might be easy for him to just come and go, oh yeah, bam, happy birthday, get out, do it. Or I could have just made it fucking harder for him. For example, if I was supposed to like do something from the front, which I don't think I was, but if I was supposed to do something from the front, which I now can't do because it's on its front, we'd have to put it all on to put it back, to do something from the front, to put it back again. Also, if we leave it like this, then we've got to leave it like this overnight, and that means going past it to have a shower in the morning. Put it back. I'm saying put it back because I have a rough idea where all these screws go, and I won't in the morning. I doubt he will either. Right, let's put it back. Not bad, except for the fact that I don't know where those 4 go. So, does anyone know how to reconfigure a Virgin remote to a different TV? When we first turned it on, I set it up for a Samsung TV. I don't own a Samsung TV anymore, and I can't reset it. And I've like resynced it and all that kind of stuff, but it just won't give me the menu to say set up for your TV. I feel like I might have to just reset the box, which isn't going to be fun. Well, it's been a weekend, man. One hell of a long video. I apologise. It's what happens when I'm on my own. And I'm not working on work stuff. So, tomorrow, we are getting 2, I'm not at work tomorrow, but spoiler alert, that's what's happening. We're getting 2 people around, one to do a water meter, one to do a smart meter, and hopefully someone to come and fix our oven. So, that's the plan. I'm going to ring someone and roll from there. This is like the last day. I've got to dial into a meeting. We're not supposed to be doing working from home anymore. Really bad timing because obviously I'm fucking booked all this shit in. But yeah, so in theory it'll be like my last time working from home for a while. But that's my plan. I've got to like let in people to do shit. But yeah, it's been a fun weekend. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. It's been great. The final of the circle is on tomorrow, so I'll finally be able to get onto my sleeping pattern again. God damn it. Right, it's 11:30 now. Okay, thanks for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you later.